Part 30. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 292. 21 Refiner Good Materials. After Cao Junfan's relentless pursuit and his dislike for female BT, Zhang Wei seems to have some good feelings for him now. The snow silk was originally what Cao Junfan wanted to buy to please the beauties, but unfortunately a black-faced monk came out halfway and he snatched the snow silk. At this moment, Cao Junfan and Zhang Wei, as well as Zhang Wei's girlfriend Huang Zixuan, are discussing. The BT woman is really abominable. She has buckled your Chiquitan. How can she do that? Master doesn't care about it, Huang Zixuan frowned. Although she likes brother Cao Junfan and knows that brother Cao is looking after her friend Zhang Wei, she does not want her friend to be occupied by that female BT. Zhang Wei sighed helplessly. Well, Master also said, but there is no way, that woman is not afraid of anyone in the case. What good is it to say, Master wanted to help me find the materials for refining, but she is not the material for alchemy, so all the materials that I have found so hard are all scrapped. Well, my second aunt. Cao Junfan shook his head, and then encouraged, Wu Yi, don't worry about it. The next big contest will be, as long as you get the top 10, there will be a Zhujidan. I believe you have the strength to win the top 10. Huang Zixuan also nodded and said, yeah, when you get Zhujidan from the big game, there is no other way to see that woman. Huang Zixuan thought of the woman and could not help but curse, that woman is really BT, you do anti-marrying, and marrying a two-room wife, this is not enough. Making the Zhongli men afraid that her woman would hide from her. What is it called? It spread out and lost Yun Fuzong's face. Cao Junfan added, Wu Yi, you have enough attack tools now, but you don't have suitable defense tools. I'm afraid you will be caught by surprise when you meet a powerful opponent in the contest. Zhang Wei also knew his weaknesses and said, I also know, but Master has given a few Chinese masters, and there are many masters and disciples, and I am embarrassed to find her to defend the master again. Cao Junfan looked at the beauty in annoyance, and could not help but hate the little black-faced monk again. NND, if it wasn't for the kid who grabbed it, and now presents what the beauty needs, it will definitely make Zhang Wei look at himself a little. Well, let's make it ourselves. Wu Yi, you are not obsessed with refining devices. Our generation of disciples are the most gifted in refining devices. They all say that if you go to the refining line, you will be more promising. Huang Zixuan thought about it. Zhang Wei listened and laughed. Look at what you said. Wait for me to mix him with the smelter to study him for a few years, then I am a master of smelting amulets. When Cao Junfan saw the beautiful woman laughing, she couldn't help but be sorrowful. Very optimistic girl, she can also make jokes on her own when she is upset. Such a girl will be happy when she becomes her own dual monk. Well, if the snow silk had been snatched at the auction today, the materials for refining the defensive weapon would be available. Cao Junfan could not help but grumbled at the black boy again. Huang Zixuan laughed, actually, even if there is no snow silk, we still have the materials to make defensive weaponry, but take a risk. She said that the other two were paying attention, and Cao Junfan said, Sister Huang, don't sell a fence, let's talk. I heard someone said last time that Uncle Cao Mooking had planted a thorn tree in his small medicine garden, and it's already a lot of years. If you can cut some branches from it, it will definitely be a good material for making defensive weapons. Forget it, Zhang Wei hurriedly refused, and she couldn't be bothered when she heard the BT woman's name, and begged her to get the materials of the refining machine. It's better to promise her, and get her to take Chiquitan more directly. Cao Junfan also shook his head, feeling that this method would not work. But Huang Zixuan laughed again, it wasn't possible before, but it's different now. Martial art, have you forgotten that the little monk you introduced is showing her the medicine garden and let that monk steal some from the medicine garden? Wouldn't it be great? When Zhang Wei heard it, his eyes brightened. Yeah, let Li Heza steal some from the medicine garden, and let the woman know, is it alright? It's not too late, let's go now. Cao Junfan stood up first. The two women and one man first went to find out, and knew that Cao Muking was in Sihatang, and then hurried to Huishan Xiao Yuan. But to their disappointment, the kid who saw the medicine garden went out yesterday and hasn't come back till now. Ye Kong still lay on Bai Jier's couch at this moment. He hadn't eaten meat for several months, thinking that it would be okay if the medicine garden was not watered for a few days, so he lived in Bai Jier's house. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 293. 2923 Days 3 Nights. The sun slowly came in through the door of Beijiatang house, shining on Chen Baixuan's childish but cold face. The day before yesterday, he accidentally played, but he did not expect to hear the sound from Baijier's room. Although Chen Baixuan, who has been outside for a long time, is still young, he is also very clear about what this voice represents. He listened carefully and was surprised to find that it was his master who was doing that kind of thing with his mother. Pretending to be a gentleman, but finally I still look at my mother, but I didn't show up for 3 days. A couple, I will kill you sooner or later, Chen Baixuan snorted and got into the formation. What happened by chance made Chen Baixuan even more determined to cultivate. At the same time, he even hated Baijier. The sky was bright, Ye Kong also slowly opened his eyes. He not only had not tasted this taste for months, but also had not slept for a long time. Cultivation people do not need to sleep, let alone meditating for 10 or 8 years. It is common to fly for months or fight with the enemy for half a month. But for Ye Kong, who used to love to sleep late, sleeping would make him more comfortable, not to mention that there is a wonderful woman with a soft and warm voice beside him. Brother Black, are you going back? Ye Kong nodded. Yeah, today is the 4th day of the Suzy rain. If you don't go back, the teacher will be punished. Baijier heard that she would still be punished if she didn't go back. Of course, she didn't want to let the beloved man be punished. She didn't want to drag Ye Kong back, and now she didn't save her. Rest assured, I will come back as soon as I have time. Ye Kong has a lot of love for his own woman. Baijier nodded, then blushed, pulled Ye Kong's hand, stuffed the things held in his small hand into Ye Kong's palm, then quickly entered the door and closed the opposite door. Ye Kong opened his hands and looked, it turned out to be a pair of silk socks, it still looks like Baijier was just wearing. Is this agreeable? Ye Kong hadn't figured it out yet. Hearing behind the door, Baijier said, you don't mean, men like women's underwear. If you want Jier, look at these socks. Oh, that's it. Ye Kong grinned. Although he didn't collect these BT hobbies in his past and present life, but since others gave him away, put it away. Sewing from the door, I watched Ye Kong put the silk socks on his nose and smelled it. Then he left in the storage bag, and Baijier's face was full of flushing again. I hope he will come again soon. The city of Surabaya was very busy in the morning. Pedestrians came and went, riding their daily hardships on the level bluestone. The monk is suffering, the mortal is even more bitter. Ye Kong could not help but sigh with emotion. Yeah, what the master saw really turned out to be far-sighted, he was superior, and the children were taught. I don't know when the second apprentice Xianxia appeared beside Ye Kong. Put yourself higher, you can see farther away, sir, you have to learn to keep raising your height, so that you will have a wider field of vision. Ye Kong was wearing a high hat, could not help but make a pair. He looked at the great man in the distance with his hands on his hips, but then he understood again, and turned and asked, your boy is not practicing well at home, what is he doing here? Xianxia smiled bitterly, Master, I can't use any symbol. I originally wanted the blue sky to teach me, but I thought of Master again, these 5 elements of the Immortal Sutra cannot be seen by others. I had to wait at the door of Bai's house for you to come out. Yekong looked at Xianxia. Although he was a hooligan, he was very obedient. He nodded at the moment and said, "Well then, go to your house as a teacher to help you set up a rune." Xianxia was overjoyed, hurrying to lead the way, asking while walking, "Master, why haven't you gotten out of the gate in the past 3 days? I thought Master would come up and walk on the wall." Yekong's old face blushed, and he shot Xianxia angrily, "Why are you so inferior to me when you walk on the wall? Like you, a gust of wind will be blown down. I am a golden gun. The Master's magical powers are sent out, and the young girls in the world are dazzling, and the children are out of reach." Xianxia said to himself, "This guy used to think he was a gentleman, and he never thought he was more hooligan than me. If Yekong knows, he must laugh with the sarcasm. Laozi is the earth, Kangnan, the two realms of hooligans. Laozi's love movies have studied 100 g, how do you compare with Laozi?" The two arrived at the house of the city defense master one after the other. Xianxia's father had heard that Xiaozi had worshipped the immortal as a teacher. "Today, I know that the immortal teacher arrived. Of course, he sent the whole house to wait for the dust. A bit overwhelmed. Oh, you don't have to do these famous things. Formalism is a must." Yekong, a senior leader, came to give instructions. "It's what I want, Father." Xianxia laughed quickly, and then came over and whispered, "The immortal has a high vision, and we mortals have nothing to give each other. The front row is a girl who is better seen by the government. They are all perfect bodies. As long as the immortal master sees it, let them serve the immortal master." Yekong was depressed for a while, and he glanced at Xianxia. "His fairy and Laozi's reputation ruined you. When Laozi is a hungry wolf." Xianxia shuddered, and quickly lowered her head. "You are better than hungry wolves in color. 3 days and 3 nights, 3 days and 3 nights. To the reader. Xiaoman has a terrible cold and has a bad headache. For the 7 chapters that have been hardened, don't be stingy. Another friend who played Across the Fire line, please add group 87136774, exchange headshot experience. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 294. A big loss in 293. Xianxia was still very clever. At noon, he had mastered the method of meditation practice. Yekong helped him set up a spiritual practice and gave him some spiritual stones and elixir, and he left the city defense house. Out of Chenfangfu, the way to return to Zone must pass through the Yi family firm, so Yekong also went to the Yi family firm to see if the wormwood was delivered. The people of the Yi family have now all known Yekong. Although this boy is not so good, the arrogance is still impressive. Even Cao Guang's ancestors did not buy it. Those guys dare to neglect. How about it? At the Yujia firm, Gao Yuanhang was not there. After listening to the middle-aged shopkeeper, it was time to greet the young master of the Yi family. When Yekong heard it, he didn't dare to stay longer. He wasn't sure if the Yumenying could recognize him. In short, there would be no good thing to meet with the woman. If the woman saw herself, she would refinish the 8th layer of gas. Yekong didn't need to know that, the woman he must be killed in one fell swoop, saving him to build the base and ask him to cash in. With this idea in mind, he made a long story short and directly asked about the sedge. The shopkeeper laughed, "It is rare for someone to buy the Singularis, not to mention you pay such a high price." He sent it the next day, and said that if there is any need, contact him directly. "Oh, here it is. That's the best. Give it to me." When he saw the 10 sedge plants, Yekong found that he had lost a large amount. Because the price of leaves is higher, the seller of the grass was very careful when weeding. Not only did the green branches and leaves of the plant are not damaged, even the complex root system was intact. Yekong regretted it. It was enough to know that one plant would be enough. Take it back and grow it with interest soil. As long as one plant is planted, how many are needed? But now the Yi family firm has received it. Do not think it will not work. 10 millennium sage plants and 8,000 spirit stones. Yekong didn't have so many spirit stones originally, he was going to sell another 3,500-year-old Yunwuzai. However, because of killing Zhang Jud, this old guy is still very wealthy. There are more than 10,000 Guangling stones, so Yekong doesn't need to sell Yunwuzai, he can just give them to Lingxi. After taking the salvia, Yekong hurriedly left the Yi family firm. It was better for Yi Meniying's intriguing woman to provoke her less. Out of the city, Yekong only remembered that Dao was still thrown in the storage bag, and quickly took out the spirit beast circle. This spiritual beast circle is relatively high-end, and it is basically lost in the Kangnan continent, so generally nobody knows it. Yekong can also boldly use it as a jade pendant and hang it under the belt. As soon as the spirit beast circle was taken out, Dao was annoyed and complained, "Master, you have left me in for too long, it's really boring." Yekong said, "Then you meditate and practice inside." Dao was depressed. "They don't know when you take me out. I thought that you would have enough time. Who knows so long?" Dao has witnessed Yekong and Feng Xiniang cross in circles with her own eyes, and also knows the approximate time required. How can she know how to do such boring things with her intelligence, which can last 3 days and 3 nights? Yekong smiled awkwardly, "Relax, it won't happen again, it's a big deal, next time, let you watch the war again, well, don't be embarrassed." From a certain perspective, this is what you should learn, knowledge is also knowledge. Do you understand? To say that Yekong's flicker technique is getting higher and higher. Looking at him with a heavy heart, he can't connect him with the strange uncle with the bad little loli. Oh, the obedient Dao responded, but her heart fluttered, which made her very strange, so boring and repetitive movements. Why was her heart beating when she thought of it? But Dao soon forgot this, and Yekong told her that she would soon have a high-level spirit beast. The temptation of that thing to Dao is far more than that of other people. Eating it once and thinking 10 times is like drugs. Yun Fuzong, Small Medicine Garden. A young girl in red, a young girl in yellow, and a handsome guy in white are wandering outside the medicine garden. This is the 3rd day. Zhang Wei has come at least 18 times in the past 3 days, but there was no response in the medicine garden. The note was sent in like a mud cow into the sea. If it was not for the woman, Cao Junfan was going to attack the prohibition. Already. Wu Yi, did you say that the black egg you introduced died in it? Why didn't you even react at all? Huang Zixuan was uncomfortable with the black egg. After 3 days of waiting, it made her even more afraid of the black egg. The nausea rose to the limit. No, just wait. Although Zhang Wei was comforting his friend, his teeth rattled. Where this kid died is really abominable. When you come back, this girl will kill you. It's a black egg again. NND, am I born to hate the black-skinned guy? Cao Junfan hated the legendary black egg, and all the people with dark skin were not good. Just when they thought it was white again today, Yamaguchi flew an inferior flying sword used by the introductory disciple. A dark-skinned outsider disciple on the sword was squinting his eyes and wondering what he was thinking. Come here with a smile. Hey, what are you doing? Faster! Zhang Wei shouted from afar. I don't know why. He wanted to get angry when he saw this black egg, not to mention waiting for this guy for 3 days. Hey, here it is. Yekong opened his eyes before he noticed the 3 people at the gate of Xiao Yuan. The most noticeable one is the man among the 3. Yekong looked at it, not good. Why did Cao Junfan come? Did he ascertain his identity so soon that he had come to question the teacher? In fact, Cao Junfan was more depressed than Yekong. He didn't expect that he had waited for 3 days, but he had waited for the goods. Cao Junfen didn't even think of breaking his head. The arrogance was extremely arrogant. Everyone thought it was a black disciple of a fairy disciple, but it was just an outsider disciple of Yun Fuzong. My day! When did you see the pharmacy like this? However, even if the boy was a drug gardener, Cao Junfen was still a little scared and didn't want to see him. After all, it's such a shame, if you let your dream beauty know that you're so useless, then don't expect Zhang Weihai to look at himself more. When Ye Kong walked leisurely, Zhang Weihai's hatred towards him reached the limit, as if a rush of red rushed up. Of course, instead of hugging, he kicked Ye Kong several times with his feet. You black egg! How come you go out for so many days? Don't you know we are waiting for you? Ye Kong was depressed. I really don't know. Then you see that we are still flying so slowly, Little Pepper angrily yelled. Ye Kong smiled bitterly. What can I do? The flying sword in this case is at the fastest speed, or can you send your Hot Wheel to me? You want to be beautiful. The boy turned his own idea on the Hot Wheels. Zhang Weihai was even more angry, and went up to step on Ye Kong's feet again. Not only Little Peppers, but even Huang Zixuan couldn't help but go up and kick, and the little girl's little feet made the black egg jump. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 295. 29-4. Cao Junfen saw the two girls squeeze a sweat. Beauties, you are too daring, you do nt know how violent this kid is, and he will be very embarrassing at every turn. Of course, Ye Kong is definitely not going to do shameful things. Although he never asks men and women about beating people, the two little girls in front of him also have a little temper, and he can't hold them. Oh, it hurts, I can't kick it. Hey, who are you? I'm not familiar with you, you kick me. It's called once in a lifetime and 2 times in a lifetime. Huang Zixuan wore a yellow skirt and kicked in white shoes. I've been born twice, cooked 3 times, and taken off my underwear 3 times. Wow, cucumber, you know a lot. This gangster never forgets to poison the girl. Dirty. Vulgar. Kick you. Little Pepper and Gherkin were even more angry, and Huang Zixuan shouted, Brother Junfen, come and help. That day he said you bad things. Surprisingly, Cao Junfen, who has always been arrogant, even laughed kindly, you are so troubled, leave me alone. I and Brother Li met for the first time. How can you be so polite? As soon as Ye Kong heard this, the boy hinted to himself. The first time I met, obviously he didn't want to mention the previous things. That would be the best. I also hope that you have amnesia. Cao Junfen didn't help, and Huang Zixuan shouted again, what politeness to talk to this black egg? He bullied me, please help me quickly, can you hear him say such indecent things? Ye Kong knew that Cao Junfen would definitely not help. Ironically, you are as rude as Brother Cao. Why should you be bullied and ask him to help? You are not his wife. You asshole. Huang Zixuan was so annoyed by this guy that all fists and fists came. Ye Kong started arguing with them at the beginning, and now it's endless. He's annoyed, he doesn't dodge now, he yells, enough. To say that the blackbird was angry, it was really a bit fierce and overbearing, and it scared the two girls. Kick me again, and I will report to Cao Mooking's ancestors, saying that you are tangled in front of her medicine garden, trying to undermine the restrictions of the medicine garden, and stealing the spirit grass in the garden. The arrogance continued. Men in Yunfuzong are afraid of Cao Mooking, women are even more afraid. What's more, Zhang Weihai thought that he was here to ask for help. He has irritated him, and there is no hope of Mu Jingying. Brother Heze, let's play with you. Xianxia waited for 3 days, so you were anxious for a while, so don't mind. Zhang Weihai's face turned very fast, and he blinked from anger to coincidence. Xiaoying, even the title has changed. Wait for 3 days? What are you doing? Yekong said alertly. Judging by Zhang Hui's expression, I know that there is nothing good. I haven't called me like that before, and I have nothing to offer. Well, that's it. Zhang Hui looked around, whispered, let's go in and say. Looking at them, Yekong was really afraid that they wanted to mix in and rob the medicine garden. But even if the three of them play together, they are not Yekong's opponents. Okay, come in. Yekong took out a magic charm and entered the pharmacy forbidden. After a wave like ripples, a small round door appeared. Entering the small medicine garden, Zhang Hui started looking around. Yekong generally guessed where they came from, and asked, is it looking for some kind of spirit grass? Let's say, which one? Seeing Yekong is so interesting, Zhang Hui was overjoyed, and patted Yekong's shoulder with a smile. I know I didn't save you in the first place, in fact, I just want a little bit of spirit grass, and when you repay the life-saving grace. Yekong sent a grimace to Zhang Hui. Did you save me? I got on board, and you're going to kill me. As he was talking, he saw Huang Zixuan's eyes light up, pointed to the innermost part of the medicine garden, and shouted, there, there. Everyone looked up, and saw that a thorn tree was twining on a wooden pole, and the branches of the 3 thorn trees were thin and pale, and looked extremely slender. No, you want that thing? Yekong frowned. The Jingjing and the flower tree next to it were the highest spiritual trees here. Of course, it is not difficult for Yekong to embarrass them. It is not that the phoenix is too advanced, but that this thing grows slowly and is very thin. There are 3 short branches in total. Do you want the leaves above? You want fresh or dead leaves? Yekong asked again. Huang Zixuan snorted, what leaves? We want branches, as long as 2. Yekong almost vomited blood and fell to the ground. As long as you have 2, you have too much breath, don't you see 3 in total? You cut 2, Cao Muking knows that even a blind man has been cut, and that woman must not kill Lao Tzu. In fact, Yekong can also cultivate it with interest soil, but he also knows how things happen. Huang Zixuan himself is not familiar with it. Cao Junfen is even half an enemy. If they let them have doubts and spread them out, then trouble will come. Already? No, aren't you asking for my life? The last time I was kicked out of the gate by Cao Muking was because I injured Mu Jingyu. If I cut 2 of them, the woman must not got a neurosis? Yekong spit out the unreasonable request. Seeing Xiao Suo of that kind of phoenix, Zhang Hui was also embarrassed to say something. Besides, even if the black eggs are spelled out and cut themselves, when Cao Muking finds out, he still cannot escape punishment. Huang Zixuan lowered her head when she thought about it, and sighed, what? Wu Yi, your defense weapon is hopeless. After finishing speaking, I couldn't help but glared at Yekong, cursing, I blame you. Yekong fainted. This cucumber sister was really embarrassed. How could I blame me for some reason? This medicine garden is not mine. Yekong Gli was upset by her, but turned back to find that Cao Junfen was smiling. Good boy, what are you laughing at? Yekong's mouth angled up and said, it's not easy to make a defense weapon. What materials do you need? Just go to the store and buy it. Huang Zixuan didn't feel good. You said it easily. Did you buy the materials in the shop? Yekong grinned, you can't afford to rely on a little pepper alone, but... Yekong's eyes turned to Cao Junfen. Cao Junfen's heart sank and broke. The boy looked at me again. Does he think I can do something good? Make it clear that you want to overcast me again. But don't we have big money? Yekong hesitated and grabbed Cao Junfen. Cao Junfen struggled, but he was reluctant to be shouldered. Brother Junfen, it's worth it. 5 years to build the foundation. Yun Fuzong practiced the first person, and was also the grandson of Cao Guang's ancestors, rich people. It was a lot of money at the auction, Wu Yu Xiao, my sister urgently lacks defense tools, so I ask you for this big sponsorship. Cao Junfan smiled awkwardly, scolded in his heart, You have more money than me. Snatched the snow silk, now come to blackmail me again, you are too despicable, I draw a circle to curse you. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 296. 295. Although Cao Junfan despised Ye Kong's behavior, he still patted the storage bag, took out a small bag, and said, All I have saved 1,000 spirit stones, let me sponsor it. Cao Junfan wanted to buy things to please Zhang Wei. It is also at ease to take out the spirit stone at this moment, presumably the beautiful woman who needs help at this moment will definitely be touched by a mess, it is best to show your respect. However, when Cao Junfan took out the spirit stone, it was found that the lady did look over with gratitude, but, the gaze was looking at a certain blackbird. Shameless, too shameless, obviously the spirit stone that Lao Tzu took out was made a good person by this cricket. Cao Junfan once again realized the despicableness of the blackbird. Ye Kong didn't realize it. He took the spirit stone and looked at Cao Junfan again. The look seemed to be saying, more than that. Cao Junfan was afraid that the boy would reveal that he had 2,000 spirit stones. It would be more generous. Anyway, he was going to buy materials for Zhang Wei. Hurry and shoot another storage bag. Oh, I borrowed it from my grandpa. Thousands of spirit stones, I'll make it for you. Looking at the 2,000 spirit stones, Zhang Wei finally looked at Cao Junfan with gratitude. Brother Junfan, this is not possible. You can borrow it from Cao Guang's ancestor. I can't ask for it. The beauty was finally touched. Cao Junfan was so pleased with his heart that if I added a few words, I was at the risk of being punished by my grandfather. Is that beauty more moved? However, before Cao Junfan had time to speak, a blackbird interposed again, Wu Yi, hold it all right, this Jianling stone will be used as my loan to brother Junfan, and I will return him later. Ah, black egg, no, brother Hezi, what will you do? You only took the worship of 10 spirit stones a month. The other day, you just lost all the spirit stones, how can I make you pay this bill back? It seems that the beauties are more moved by hailing. After all, a core disciple of a high school gives out 1,000 spirit stones, which is different from a small monk who takes out 1,000 spirit stones. Ye Kong, the Jianling stone, has significantly more gold content. Cao Junfan was really going to vomit blood. The black cricket was so bad that he took out 2,000 spirit stones all by himself. The 1,000 spirit stone martial arts in front felt that he was squeezed out by the black cricket, and the 1,000 spirit stone behind was also okay with himself, and let the black cricket return the spirit stone, it is estimated that he will be beaten again. With Cao Junfan's 2,000 spirit stones as the foundation, Zhang Wei took out more than 500 spirit stones by himself, Huang Zixuan took out 300 spirit stones, and together he had 2,000 spirit stones. Buy some good stuff. However, what made Cao Junfan appalling was that as the biggest money here, the black cricket was still the promoter, but he didn't dig a stone. Actually, it's not Ye Kong who does nt want to dig. The Qi family. Zhang Wei said, brother, you just lost the spirit stone a few days ago, and now you have borrowed this debt for me. Do nt dig again, you take it again a spirit stone, I feel too heavy. Touched, tears one by one. Cao Junfan vomited blood one by one. However, Cao Junfan was not passively beaten. He looked at the 2,800 spirit stones in Zhang Wei's hands. When he had a clever move, he took Ye Kong aside and whispered, Li Hizi, since everyone wants to help Wei, don't hide it, take out the snow silk, and return to you 2,800 demon stones. How? Hey, your kid is overcast too. If Lao Tzu takes out the snow silk now, Is NT there a baby who wo NT give it to Zhangwei? Although we do NT have any idea about the little pepper, but this kind of sad thing for the beauty, we wo NT do. There are still more babies in Lao Tzu's storage bag. Zhangjud sponsored a lot of materials. It's just not convenient to take it out. Ye Kong smiled, Brother Junfan, I'm sorry, that's no silk, I have given it away and made it into a treasure, so I can't take it out now. Of course, Cao Junfan is not convinced by Ye Kong's statement. From the day you bought snow silk, it is only 3 days. Even if you give it to the most powerful master, you will not be able to make a master in 3 days. Who are you? Looking at Cao Junfan's unbelief, Ye Kong didn't mind letting him see his achievements. Take out a bunch of silky white and bright things from the storage bag and hand it to Cao Junfan. Look, it's made of snow silk. At a glance, Cao Junfan seemed to be made of snow silk, but, how can't I see what kind of magic instrument this is? Why are there no spiritual fluctuations? Cao Junfan pulled his stockings with his hand, and still couldn't see what it was. He couldn't help wondering, Brother Li, redemption my eyes, what are you doing with these 2 long bags made of snow silk? Is it a sword bag? Ye Kong was laughing and spraying. He didn't know anything. He also returned a sword bag. The sword here is not for swords. The sword here is thousands of times more beautiful than swords. Seeing the 2 people muttering, Zhang Wei and Huang Zixuan were also very puzzled. How could they be as close as their brothers when they met for the first time? However, when Cao Junfan stretched the stockings, the 2 girls still gathered around and wondered, what kind of weapon is this? Why is there no spiritual fluctuation? But it seems that it is made of Xianxia materials. Ye Kong laughed and said, you all guessed wrong, in fact, this is not a magic weapon, nor is it used to defend the enemy, this is actually a woman's socks, called crystal clear silk socks. After the woman puts on, not only can make the legs more slender and beautiful, but also promote the blood circulation of the legs, wearing warm in the winter, cool in the summer, it is essential for home travel. After listening to Ye Kong's words, Cao Junfan was going to vomit blood again, and he dared to take the silk to shoot the silk. It turned out to be a woman's socks. Well, it's a sin the snow silk of these thousands of spirits. Yeah, it's socks. The 2 girls reacted differently. The first time I saw this translucent sock, both eyes brightened. The girls are all beautiful. They can imagine the translucent silk socks. It's so beautiful, even if you do NT wear it out, it's great to see it for yourself. What kind of socks are these crystals and where are they sold? Huang Zixuan clutched a sock, like an ancestral magic weapon, hurriedly asked Ye Kong. It's crystal clear silk socks. Ye Kong emphasized the earth-shattering name again, and then said very stupidly, sorry, this kind of socks was developed by this monk after years of painstaking efforts and has not been sold in the Kangnan mainland. That's it? It's your research. The 2 MMS looked at Ye Kong's expression, as if their eyes were full of little stars. Ye Kongdeo, if you came out of your bra and thong, you might not know what it looks like. Will it be for me, then? This Huang Zixuan really is a temperament person, it is straightforward, do I know you well? Zhang Wei on the side was also holding soft and slippery stockings, looking at Ye Kong expectantly. She heard Ye Kong's words. In this pair, a good friend asked me, but she was embarrassed to ask, but she couldn't bear to let go. There was a depression in Ye Kong. Lao Tzu was really mean. What did you tell them? Those socks were given to Bai Jie. Last night, Bai Jie also wore these stockings to communicate with her feet. How could she give them away? But look at their hot eyes, well, it's difficult to be a man. To the reader, I recommend this new book, Emperor of Beggars. The work of my younger brother is still very good. I have published several books, witty, imaginative. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 297. 296 Technical Activities. Oh, no, in fact, this sock already has a master. Yekong thought about it and decided not to send it, otherwise if Baiji asked later, if he couldn't take it out, it would be bad. Huang Zixuan didn't let go, and Zhang Wei didn't let go. Although she seemed straightforward, she also had a little trick. Looking at Cao Junfen, she quickly winked. The meaning was very clear: don't you meet the sunspot and hate it late. Then come forward, help me. Cao Junfen was afraid of dealing with this boy. This boy is too overcast. If he comes forward, maybe he will be taken in by this boy. However, the beauty's request, he could not help but. And he was also a little careful. Hey, just let you yin me, don't let me yin you. I am also going to borrow flowers to offer a Buddha. If the sunspot is not given to life or death, its position in Zhang Wei's heart will definitely drop significantly. Therefore, success or failure, you are the winner. In cough, Cao Junfen coughed and said, Brother Li, since you took this thing out and said it so well, you can just bear with it. Look at the pitiful kind of two of them. Oh, I still feel pity. I will repay the master, and I will give it to them. You are the fairy, and you have to be the master of things. Are you tired of living? Yekong's eyes glared and he had an idea in his heart. Since your kid wants to be the master, let you do it. Brother Junfen, well, in fact, you are already a real human being. I should call your uncle. Don't dare, just call it brother. Well, Brother Junfen, in fact this little master did it for you, Yekong said easily. Cao Junfen froze. When did this kid become so talkative? Turned around? No, there must be a conspiracy, but I'm afraid I'll get in again. Sure enough, Yekong then said sadly, but, I said just now that this pair of crystal clear silk socks is all you need. You see who they want, and who you call the shots. Yekong was so angry, he waved his hand, but gave Cao Junfen a big problem. Looking at the pitiful eyes of the two girls, Cao Junfen said that no one is good, that everyone offends people, and he can't say one for each. NND, my mouth is so cheap, I'm full, and I'm fine. What do I do to him? Knowing that the boy had a lot of ways to do it, he even sent him overcast, but the blackbird was really bad. One is his own suitor, and the other is his own pursued. How do I choose? This question is really difficult to answer. It hurts no one. Cao Junfen was in that dilemma. He listened to a hooligan and sang inconsiderately, the person who loves me gives everything for me, but I shed tears for the person I love. Heartbreaking is the same as love and being loved. Why don't I refuse, surrounded by infatuation? Yekong originally wanted to be disgusting about Cao Junfen. Who knew this sing and even made Cao Junfen aware of it? If you let me be the master, then, I see this pair of crystal clear silk socks and give martial arts today, we will refuse to be surrounded by infatuation and fight. When Cao Junfen said this, he never dared to look into Huang Zixuan's eyes. The decision there made him shudder. Alas, hate me, as long as Zhang Wei is grateful to me, there is nothing I can do. It is really that blackbird is too cunning, it is he who forced me. But fortunately, at least it won the gratitude of the beautiful lady. This battle is not a failure. Cao Junfen thought of this, and couldn't help but get proud again. But how could Ye Dagong hooligan get this? I saw Yekong taking advantage of the opportunity of Huang Zixuan to take the god, grabbed the stocking and sent it to Zhang Wei, and laughed. Haha, in fact you have misunderstood. I said before that the pair of crystal clear silk stockings already have a master. It's because, I wanted to give it to Wu Yi, and the master I said was Zhang Wei. Too bad, too mean, shameless. Looking at the shameless behavior of a hooligan, Cao Junfan couldn't wait to give him a flash of electricity and beat him to death. All the credits of Laozi were wiped out by a misunderstanding of yours. Somehow you played a trick. The good guys didn't do it, but they turned into an enemy. Li, I fight with you. However, it is estimated that he can't fight, and he will have to be severely beaten by then. Cao Junfan still suppressed this idea. Holding a pair of crystal clear silk socks, Zhang Hui's careful jumping around it turned out that he wanted to give it to me long ago, didn't he? To me, haha, really didn't see it yet, black egg, why don't you secretly give it to me, I hate you. Women are righteous and sometimes wrong. Although I said hate, it wasn't right to look at yes person, and I was so excited to kiss several times on those stockings. God, Yekong is going to faint again, and those stockings have touched me, how can you kiss me? Yekong didn't forget Huang Zixuan beside him, watching the little girl suffer double blows, tears were about to flow out, and yet expressed a lot of love, and announced, Sister Huang, don't worry, I will still give you snow some, wait a few days, I will make you a pair of crystal clear silk socks, a few days, just a few days. Yekong hadn't finished speaking yet, and felt a soft mass pressed on his arm, and then Huang Zixuan's surprised voice came, Hey brother, you are so good, I am so happy. Ye couldn't help but leaned next to Huang Zixuan's little earlobe and said, I have another idea. Maybe your pair is more beautiful than this pair. Huang Zixuan was so shy that her ears were red when she was spoken so close by a man, but when she heard it might be more beautiful, she hugged Yekong's arm more excitedly, speechless with excitement, big eyes and watery are going to flow out. And Cao Junfan, who was watching like a fool, only screamed in his heart, my God, let me blind these eyes. I have never seen such a shameless thing. Two sisters, too. It's all taken by him alone. In response to Cao Junfan, only Yekong's proud look. Boy, love triangle? Technically demanding. It can hurt you if you are not careful. But at this moment of excitement and frustration, an untimely woman sounded, What are you doing in my medicine garden? The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 298. At your disposal in 1997. When I saw someone, several people with different expressions turned into an expression, Yekong looked down, but Yekong, who had been repaired to the lowest level, still stood indifferently, still thinking of the soft feeling on his arm. Cao Muking knew that these three people came to her own medicine garden every day, but she never came. Obviously, the three of them came every day to be certain of the items in the medicine garden. She waited for the black boy to come back, and then grabbed the currant while they dug the spirit grass. Knowing that black boy is back today, she then rushed in and waited for a moment before breaking the restrictions and making a surprise attack. It was very unexpected, however, that the expectation of the digging spirit grass did not appear. What she saw at first glance was that Huang Zixuan's girl hugged Hazi's arm very kindly. What's that black cricket's arm to hold, smelly man, smelly and black? Junfan, what are you doing here? Cao Muking asked coldly. Cao Junfan is the highest repairer here, and he is also a child of the Cao family. He is a head, and he does not ask who he asks. Ant. Cao Junfan was afraid of this BT ant from an early age. This ant's parents died early and had a weird temper. When her grandfather Cao Yuantian was there, she relied on Cao Yuanation's pet to dominate her. After Cao Yuantian sat down, she was even more unscrupulous, and learned that a man would marry a two-room wife. No one dared to control her in the inner hall. Even the old ancestor Cao Guang was afraid of the niece, so he threw her to the outer hall, which harmed the outer hall disciples. It's awkward, there is nothing good at first sight. Is it because you want to steal something from my medicine garden? Cao Mu snorted arrogantly and proudly. She had noticed what was held in Zhang Gui's hands, and the 8 achievements were the stealing spirit grass, which hadn't had time to pretend. Cao Junfen was so frightened by Cao Muking that he was scared to speak, stuttering, and, no, this is not the case. Seeing Cao Junfen's performance, Yekong could not help shaking his head. This Cao Junfen is really not a good person, and her courage is too young. After all, Cao Muking is your aunt, and she can kill you. In fact, Yekong didn't know that Cao Junfen had a fear of playing this aunt. When Cao Junfen was only 8 years old, he made a small mistake and was punished by Cao Muking for spending the night with his own fairy bird. Cao Muking's fairy bird is a golden retriever. That stuff is fierce and ugly, especially a big mouth with a tentacle and bloody. Cao Junfen and Jin Mao stayed all night. At that time, Cao Junfen had not yet cultivated an immortal. Of course, he was so frightened that he now had irresistible fear of this ant. Yekong didn't know this, but he thought that Cao Junfen was too timid, and Yekong had another feeling at the same time. This Cao Muking ancestor saw Zhang Guiai and Huang Zixuan. Why do men see covetous eyes like beautiful women? Could it be, Zhang Jud said, Cao Yuan is going to marry his BT granddaughter, and that woman who likes women is her. Thinking of this, Yekong understands that no wonder the female disciple is more afraid of her and dares to feel that this woman is a comrade. Still a fierce lesbian. Also said no. What are you holding? Cao Muking gave a glance at Cao Junfen, but when she looked at Zhang Guiai, her attitude was much softer. She beckoned, Wu Yi, come here, let me see, look at what you get, just say what you want, why steal it? Zhang Guiai did not dare to go to this BT woman. She took a step back and said, Uncle Yun, this is a gift from Li Hizi, not a stealing spirit grass. Really? Cao Muking frowned, looking at Yekong, looking disbelieving. What gift can you give, a little monk with 10 spirit stones per month? Bachan stole something from my medicine garden to be a good person? Li Hizi, what crime should you take? Cao Muking looked at Yekong coldly. This black cricket is enough to spend, only a few days later, left and hugged again, this time we must punish him severely. Looking at Cao Mu's unhappy expression, Cao Junfen raised a happy feeling in his heart. Hey, you re out of luck this time. But hey, you didn't have any consciousness. He stepped forward to stand next to Zhang Guiai and asked with a smile. Refute. Cao Junfen heard him say this, hard, boy, you are really arrogant, teasing that woman, if she knows another meaning in your words, you are dead. Yekong's words were vague. Cao Muking was uncomfortable, but didn't think about it. He narrowed his eyes and looked at Yekongdeo, then you mean that I use my power to wrong you? I don't know with useless authority, but now you are wronging me. Dare you say that what she was holding was not the spirit grass of my medicine garden? Huh, don't think I don't know. Zhang Guiai wants to be in scold. The word in front was blocked by the system, and I picked it up directly. I hope that the Taoist friends won't see it, so I built Zuden, so I prepared all kinds of magical medicine. It turned out that this girl, the purpose is to build a Keaton. Oh, you said earlier, how many of these things I have? Zhang Guiai looked up and stubbornly looked at Cao Muking and said, Uncle Yun, you're wrong, this is not something in your medicine garden. Then let me see. Look at it. Just when Zhang Guiai wanted to open his hand, a big hand pressed on it, stopping her. Slow. Cao Muking watched coldly. Why, dare you take it out? Yekong drew a radian from the corner of his mouth and looked at Cao Muking. Master, it is not impossible to show you, but what if it is not something in your medicine garden? Not that you didn't steal. That's not okay. You said I stole, I just stole. I said I didn't steal, I just didn't steal it. Although I'm just a refiner, but I also have dignity. Yekong was not afraid of Cao Muking, but he but quietly winked at Zhang Wei. Cao Muking saw his little movements clearly, and was more certain in his heart that this blackbird was brazenly supporting himself. So what do? Cao Muking stared at Yekong. Boy, because you want to kill me. I. Yekong's eyes flashed with panic. Looking at this performance, Cao Junfan couldn't help but sigh, this is too bold, this dare is too bold, and he dared to seduce Cao Muking. No one in Yunfuzong was afraid to do so. Seeing Yekong's panic expression, Cao Muking was even more proud, and said eerily, Li Hizi, if this ancestor is wrong, let you handle it, if you are wrong, I'll leave it to you, Yekong said busily. It is good. Seeing Cao Mu's smug smile, Cao Junfan breathed a sigh of relief, my aunt, you don't know how treacherous this blackbird is. Sure enough, when Zhang Wei let go of his hand, Cao Muking's face turned blue. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 299. Not interested. Do you dare to play with me? Cao Muking was annoyed for a while, staring at Yekong, and at the same time he used Yuan God's oppression on Yekong. After 2 months of recuperation, Yekong's Yuan Shen, who was injured by Shi Dingfeng, has long been fine. Yekong was swallowed up by the Yuan Shen who swallowed the fool. Yuan Shen naturally surpassed ordinary people. In addition to his reasons for practicing exercises, Yuan Shen was strengthened. Moreover, Yekong found that since being attacked by Shi Dingfeng's powerful Yuan Shen, his Yuan Shen was more resistant than before. Therefore, in the face of the oppression of Cao Muking's Yuan Shen, Yekong was able to support him. Master, how can my disciple in the gas-making period dare to play with you, but you are aggressive as soon as you come in, now you want to bully me with Yuan Shen oppression, don't you think it is too much? Yekong Kong has been sweating heavily. The difference between the gas refining period and the dandan period is too far away. If Cao Muking increases his strength, he will be ready to hide in the golden light. Yes, uncle, you don't count, Zhang Wei was pretty bachelor. Although she was afraid of this woman, she dared to come out and hit her at this time. Well, Jidan's ancestors don't count. Huang Zixuan also helped. Cao Muking was said by the 2 juniors. He withdrew his consciousness and asked coldly, what is this? This is for filtering water, Yekong said first, and he wiped the sweat on his forehead. The mountain spring water we drink has a lot of impurities, so I use this to filter. All the water I use to drink, I have to strain this thin layer of wire mesh bag and drink it clean. The boy started to grin again, Cao Junfan and both women sweating. Zhang Wei looked at Yekong, and said in his heart, that I am an old-fashioned monster. You are more black than me. Actually, Cao Muking, who dared to frighten everyone, drank foot wash water, oh my god, I have never seen anything more daring than you. In fact, Yekong thinks even harder. Hey, the foot wash is still cheap for you. There is Laozi's X solution on it, Cao Muking ancestor, as long as you ask, I promise to give it to you. And Cao Junfan no longer knows the number of times in his heart called God. But the black cricket didn't want to let him go. After a blackbird talked about its usefulness, he turned back and said, Uncle Junfan, am I right? You. I hate you. Why are you staring at me? Damn, I'm overcast at this time. Cao Junfan really wanted to kill. That's right, Cao Junfan only nodded hurriedly, could not help but stare at Yekong again. This blackbird is awful. The more I see you, the more you look like a golden retriever. It's used for filtering Ling Shui. Ling Shui is very clean. It's superfluous. Cao Muking was obviously not interested in this filtered water thing, and immediately began to drive humane. Well, Zhang Wei thought about looking for me at my cave house. She ordered a guest, and the other 3 wanted to leave long ago, and made a courtesy and fled. Going to the door, the 2 girls looked back at Yekong uneasily. The two girls have a good conscience. Yekong waved at them before they came out of the ban. You've been out for nearly 4 days this time, what did you do? Why didn't you ask me for leave? Cao Muking reprimanded. The pharmacy stipulates that there are 5 days of vacation a month, and there is no need to take leave. The ancestors' eyes should be okay. The truth told by Yekong is that Cao Muking is also not provocative, so he snorted, "Take care of the medicine garden, let me go." "Hey, do you want to hang on?" Yekong swayed her hips and said softly, "Master, you have forgotten one thing." Cao Muking didn't expect that the kid really dared to take it seriously, and anger rushed back. "What are you going to do? Are you really afraid that this ancestor will kill you?" "Afraid? Of course I'm scared." Yekong's expression wasn't scared. He stepped forward and said, "Master, there are 3 witnesses today. If you really kill me, then, you have unreasonably bullied the 4 generations of disciples, and your deeds of talking and killing people have been widely known. I know that the disciples in Zone are afraid of you, and you do not care about comments, but the news will soon spread throughout the Kangnan continent. By then, the entire Yunfuzong will be ashamed of you. How do you face Master Cao Yuanation Zhu?" Cao Muking was hurt by Yekong. She really felt that the only thing I was sorry was Grandpa Cao Yuan Tian. Cao Muking calmed his anger, looked at Yekong in front of him, and said, "Even if I lose, what do you want? As long as I have it, I can compensate you. If you want to join the inner hall, I can also recommend it you." "Oh, sir, you don't remember clearly, I remind you, what you said at that time, let me handle it," Yekong finished, and took another step forward, looking at Cao Muking aggressively with both eyes. "Cheek." As you can see, Cao Muking's cheeks immediately showed ruddy from inside, and the white was rosy. She never let a man be so close to herself. Although she likes a woman, but a man approaching her like this makes her nervous. Breathing disorder. What do you do? Cao Muking's always proud eyes flashed a panic. Yekong answered her with his eyes. Yekong's eyes moved from her pink cheeks to her flushed full lips, and finally from her rounded chin all the way to the tall and bulging bulge of her plain clothes. "Stand upright. Wow, it's really big. If you wear a bra, it must be bigger. It's bigger than Baijier. It feels like you can't stop your clothes. Of. You dream." Cao Muking's full were constantly undulating. She took a step back, holding a storage bracelet and a flying sword full of runes in her hand. "Li Hizi even made such a request to this ancestor, even if I let Quang Kangnan scold, I will kill you." Yekong sneered, "Master, my request hasn't been said yet. Do you think I want to be with you? Haha, you're wrong, tell you, Xiaoxiu, I'm not interested in old women." Cao Mu snorted, "Uninterested as that? I see your eyes are falling on my breast. That's it, that's all for now." Cao Muking threw Fei Jian into the storage bracelet and turned away. "Hey, sir, you're back again, I haven't asked for it yet." Cao Muking gritted her teeth. "You scolded my old ancestor for an old woman. I didn't care about you and I cancelled your request." Cao Muking walked very fast, and in the blink of an eye, he was out of restraint. He threw a spell-like flying weapon, jumped up and fled, and flew to his own cave. Yekong chased out behind him and shouted, "Hey, sir, I have a few sincere words. I respect your sexual orientation, and I will not discriminate against Lala, but it must be based on the willingness of both parties to force others to be boring. There is an old saying in our hometown, force, not forgive, and forgive." When he saw Cao Muking flying far away, he almost fell off the flying carpet. To the reader. Xiodao, a former Daiyu, saw it and wrote down the name, but recently there are too many names, everyone is safe and impatient, this book is still long, and all names will be used. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 300. 299th National Congress. After Yekong finished speaking, she was still mumbling. What did she run away from? Why are you so frightened? Hey brother, what do you think? Suddenly the two girls rushed out from behind the valley, frightening Yekong. You haven't left yet. Don't worry about you. The two girls received Yekong's benefits, and their attitudes became enthusiastic. You guys have conscience. Yekong smiled and looked at Huang Zixuan and said, don't worry, I said that I can send you the crystal clear silk socks. Rest assured, I have never counted on someone who speaks Li. Where's brother? Cao Junfan slipped away, of course. He hated the black cricket, but he was afraid, no less than the golden retriever. It would have been a long time since he stayed more. Coward, Gan Huang Zixuan was very disappointed with the boy, a little bit of love and hate. However, Zhang Wei thought that people had just donated 2,000 spirit stones in order to buy the materials for the defense weapon. So she said, Sister Xianxia, you can't say brother Junfan is a coward. He was scared by Cao Muking's golden retriever when he was a kid. He is still afraid of her now. It turned out that, no wonder the boy was so afraid. Yahuligan sympathized with Cao Junfan, but in his mouth it was different. According to the research of scientists in our hometown, people with psychological trauma as a child do not get timely psychological treatment when they grow up. It is easy for BT to have anti-human and anti-social tendencies, and in the end, it is BT killer. Sure enough, the two girls took a sigh of horror. Yes? Then we need to stay away from him in the future. Shameless, Lao Tzu feels that he is becoming more and more shameless. Whoever makes that kid so self-righteous must also let him suffer a bit, and I also grow up for him. Yekong was so shameless to soothe his conscience. Zhang Wei rubbed the stockings in his hand and asked, isn't that woman embarrassing you? Yekong was also very puzzled. There was no embarrassment. Talking, she seemed to have been burnt by the fire. The stock escaped by herself. I don't know why. Huang Zixuan gave Yekong a white look, but it didn't scare you away. You see what you say, strong X is worse than X, cool, my god, it's too nasty, and it all makes me scared. But she still didn't understand some of Yekong's words. Hey brother, what does sexual orientation mean? Zhang Wei also said, yes, I also want to ask, what does Lara mean? Well, these two issues are really difficult to explain to the little girl, and they will be scolded by the disciples if they don't work well. Yekong had no choice but to stare, and said, child, don't inquire. I'm going back to making crystal clear silk socks. Huh, are you much older than us? Huang Zixuan gave a black glance in front of him and followed Yekong into the restraint. Of course much older than you guys, I have passed it. Yekong snorted and entered the medicine garden, only to find that the two girls were still following him. Hey, I heard that the monk's time is very valuable. I have to meditate for a bit of time. How can you be so free? Go back and practice. The woman from Cao Muking in the province is in trouble again. Huang Zixuan kicked the dirt on the ground and proudly said, you don't have to worry about it, my martial arts sister and I have both reached the consummation of refining gas. Now it's basically okay to meditate and not meditate, just wait for Wu Yi to get Bill Jiden, and then we retreat together. Yekong noticed the question in her words and asked, why wait for Zhang Wei to get Zujiden, don't you need to? Huang Zixuan smiled proudly, took a turquoise elixir from the storage bag, and smiled, my sister already has it, look, aren't you envious? Yekong snorted. What about a bottle of Lao Tzu, which is higher than your grade? I envy you. Is there water in your head? Yeah, I'm very envious, I'm all looking forward to wearing it, You be careful, I grab you. Yekong Zhuang pretended to be fierce and evil. However, the performance was not very successful. The ghost movie became a comedy. The two girls giggled and laughed. Are you? You want to defeat us even if you are a 7th-tier gas refiner? Dream. Yekong didn't want to compare their mono with them, and asked, why do you have it, and Zhang Wei not? Are you all the core disciples in the inner hall? Zhang Wei heard a bitter complexion, and later understood under Huang Zixuan's explanation. It turned out that according to regulations, all gas refining disciples must pass the Zhongnei competition to get the opportunity to build a foundation. However, if there is a master with a master, then don't worry. They can always use various methods to get 1 or 2 zujiden, and take it to their beloved disciple, so Huang Zixuan's zuji here's Dan. Zhang Wei should have won, but because Cao Muking deliberately made a stock from it, Zhang Wei didn't get it, so she had to participate in Zone Nei Da by Dandan, which is also her hurry to find defense the reason for the instrument. It turned out to be that, Cao Muking was really. Yekong shook his head. The woman was in good shape, but unfortunately she was a cheerleader or a cheerleader. Although Yekong came from modern society, it is not very discriminatory against lesbians, but if you are so aggressive, then you are too much. People who force others will sooner or later be forced by others. This is Yekong's attrition to Cao Muking. Well, let's not talk about those. You now have 2,800 delinquents, you should be able to buy good materials, or go to Surabaya city and buy the materials for refining defense equipment. However, Zhang Wei shook his head and said, Master said that good heavens and earth treasures are all about chance. According to my spiritual roots, it is best to use firewood and soil properties. There are many materials for soil properties. However, the defensive power of the refined instruments is not strong enough. Generally, the fire properties of the materials are used to make the attack weapon, and the materials that can be used to make the defensive weapon are rare treasures, which are usually not available at all. So in the end there are only wood-based materials, but it's still a month away from Zongbei, and it's not easy to find the right one. Yekong nodded, sighing. In fact, the best cultivation qualification is Wollingen, which has all attributes and suitable materials. In fact, the defensive weapon, the best and most convenient material is metal, but unfortunately Zhang Wei does not. Yekong wanted to lend her the golden shield broadsword, but although she could use the metallic weapon, it was difficult to exert her maximum power because of her attributes. Seeing Zhang Wei's two show eyebrows wrinkled together, Yekong Gli couldn't help but have an idea to help the girl. If such a beautiful girl is taken away by this lesbian, Cao Muking, it would be a terrible thing. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 301. 300 Alchemy on. So, I want to ask you, is the wood thorn the most suitable material for you? Yekong thought for a while. Well, it is. Zhang Wei just nodded, but thought of something, and quickly took Yekong's arm and said, Hey brother, forget it, if we really stole Cao Muking's wood thorns, she would never let go past you, and even if I get the ranking, I guess she won't let me build Keaton. In fact, where Yekong is trying to steal the wooden thorns of Cao Muking, the thing is only a few hundred years old, and it is not valuable. The BT woman is like a treasure, cut. But the feeling of being misunderstood by the little pepper is still good. The pair of black and white eyes with excited big eyes, and the softness from the arms, well, Zhang Wulin, it's not brothers who are not righteous, it's really your sister who is eating crazy my tofu. Yes, Cao Muking's things can't be moved, that woman is too BT. Huang Zixuan also helped, as if forgotten, in fact she came here today. Yekong smiled and reached out to embrace the two women and said, in fact, I didn't want to take the wood thorns in this medicine garden. Well, even if the woman gave me away in vain, I wouldn't want any of them. The point is that there are too few vintages of that thorn. Ah, Zhang Wei grew up with Hanjian's small mouth, and brother Hiza was too exaggerated. You must know that this wood thorn is very difficult to grow and is a common thing, so it is quite rare for hundreds of years. Huang Zixuan was smarter and looked up and asked, "What do you mean by knowing that you can buy thousands of wood thorns?" "Yes," Yekong snapped his fingers and said, unexpectedly, "Sister Cucumber is also so smart, telling you a secret. In fact, I like to eat cucumbers." Huang Zixuan returned a white eye. "What cucumber, sister? You are the cucumber." Yekong showed a surprised expression. "Yeah, I'm not only a cucumber, but a black egg." "What's so messy is always saying what others don't understand." Huang Zixuan, who understood the profound meaning of it. Zhang Wei saw Yekong, but he understood a bit. He blushed and pinched the inside of Yekong's arm and yelled, "Hey brother, don't make a joke and talk about business." Zhang Wei said the black spirit. The stone bag was taken out and said, "The Millennium Wood Thorns and 2,800 spirit stones are enough, but if it is urgent, will people want high prices? Or I will borrow some from my brother. Here you rest assured, that guy is a good friend of mine. Maybe you do need any money. You can give a cost price of 800 lock stones. Actually, Yekong wants to cultivate it by himself, but he doesn't want money at all." But for Zhang Wuyi doesn't doubt, he decided to close it. "No, I owe it to you." "How can you owe it to someone you don't know, and you still give it to him?" Zhang Wei didn't want to owe others anymore. "Give Yekong." Yekong had no choice but to shirk for a while, and finally had to take over, and said, "So, you give 2,000 spirit stones, and 800 you keep them, and when you have wood thorns, you have to have spirit stones. Go to the craftsman firm and pay for the production." Although the production cost of the refining company is relatively expensive, it is definitely enough to make a piece of Chinese defense equipment. Unexpectedly, Huang Zixuan giggled, "Kuro, you still don't understand martial arts. In fact, she is not only a charm, but also a craftsman, and she has many masters and sisters who have crafted them for her." Then, "Oh, right," Yekong looked at Zhang Wei in surprise. "I did not expect that this little pepper still has this hand, and it will also be a charm and a refining device. It is all a craft of money. Whoever marries her, can't you count the spirit stones and get weak?" "That is of course." Zhang Wei smiled proudly, "I am a good master of the symbolic craftsmanship, although it is not as good as the master of the master craftsman. The craftsmanship that can be made is barely usable. It's not that I don't have the talent for alchemy like master, so I am making alchemy by myself." Yekong shook his head. "It's very good to be proficient in two things. Don't extravagantly control the den. You can't chew too much. If you can study these two thoroughly, you will already be better than others on Xian Road." Huang Zixuan also laughed, "Yeah, it's not enough for you to have two talents. If you are bothered by it, you can't live without it like me." Sister Cucumber smiled brightly, and her large eyes with long eyelashes smiled. Of course a hooligan couldn't help it. His arms tightened his soft waist, and it seemed that Sister Cucumber hadn't found it. Huang Zixuan teased Zhang Wei. Zhang Wei was not willing to show weakness. He replied, "Your charm is better than me. Master praises you every time and laughs at me." Yekong sighed, "It seems that I'm the only one who is useless. Hey, inferiority, how can there be tofu? I'm dead." The two girls giggled and said, "You can't be better. Finding a rich female repairman will wrap you up." Yekong was furious, "Is it like eating soft rice?" The two girls even laughed so hard they couldn't stand back. A hooligan's face was distressed, but he was cheerful. As soon as the girl got into trouble, she forgot many things. For example, the hands around their sturdy little waist had slipped down by 2 inches. Everyone laughed for a while, then the two girls felt the hand of a hooligan, almost at the same time. they both blushed and jumped away from the sphere of influence of the hooligan. Then, at the same time, one red and one yellow, the two girls stepped out at the same time, and stepped on the hooligan's feet. "Ah," Yekong exclaimed exaggeratedly. "Alas, sorry for your feet, your hands are happy, and you are suffering." When the two girls found someone's shameless behavior, they were embarrassed to stay. Zhang Wei threw all the spirit stones to Yekong, and then ran with giggles with Huang Zixuan. Long after the ban, Yekong's ears seemed to echo their crisp laughter. "Well, wine is not drunk, people are drunk, and color is not charming." Yekong shook his head, suddenly remembering one thing, and forgot to let the little peppers wash the silk socks and then wear them. "Anyway, I didn't get much up anyway, it was still high protein." Then, Yekong went into the simple cave mansion next to the medicine garden. He was preparing to make alchemy. Although he didn't know anything about alchemy, there was alchemy experience given to him by Alchemy Rulan. Alchemy is the same as the system. The more times it is refined, the greater the success rate. Moreover, the success rate of each elixir is different. That is to say, you are a master at making alchemy. If you change Huang Longdan, you are a newcomer, of course, because of the experience of refining at the front, low-level errors are unlikely to occur later. For this reason, even if the ancestor of Ling Yaoshan refined Fanshan, he did not dare to say that all elixirs could be 100% successful. What he could guarantee was just the ones he had good at.